guys, Brad here, and today I'm bringing you my top 10 cards for free-to-play users. These are going to be in the neutral section so that you can put them in every deck. Now there's only one legendary that I put on the list that isn't included in a expansion. Now I didn't place any of these cards in a certain order. I will tell you which cards are the most valuable in my opinion. Some of the cards are more expensive due to the placement in the quarters of the expansions, so they might not be as valuable as other cards that you can craft right away, as they may be just in GVG or the classic card expansions. So anyways, enough talking about it, let's just jump right into the cards. So first up is going to be Dr. Boom. Now as everybody knows who Dr. Boom is, I feel, if you've played the game. He is the 7 mana 7/7 summon 2/1/1 boombots. Everybody calls him Dr. Bounce because he is most played legendary, I believe. He's going to cost you 1600 dust, but it's definitely worth it, as you could throw him in every deck. Definitely worth your 1600 dust. Throw him in your decks. Simple as that if you want to win more. Now next up, I got a Big Game Hunter. 3 mana 4/2. It's an epic card, so it's going to cost you about 400 dust. And the reason I actually put this card on the list is because I believe that one of the hardest things as a free-to-play player to combat are the large drops. Not so much the small aggro decks, because when somebody drops a Molten Giant and another Molten Giant on top of it, you only have so many answers. Like as a mage, you only have like 2 polymorphs, and then you're done. And then you have to waste multiple spells and minions on these minions, and you run out of gas while they're still piling stuff on top of you. So Big Game Hunter helps out against Dr. Boom, the Molten Giants, Mountain Giants, Sea Giants, any of the large legendaries, Alexstrasza, whatnot. So I definitely think that he's worth at least even crafting just one. You don't need to craft 2. One is just fine, just throwing 1 into a deck. Most players do not run 2 of these cards, so yeah. So the next cards I'm going to say are actually 2 in a pair, as they come in the Plague Quarter of Naxxramas. And these cards are Sludge Belcher and Loatheb. Now Sludge Belcher is actually the card that I mainly wanted to focus on, but because Loatheb is the legendary within the pack and is such a great card, this actually makes this expansion quarter probably one of the most valuable, because it also is only the second quarter. So you only need to put in 1400 gold just to get to it. Now Sludge Belcher is a 5 mana 3/5 taunt, and then also the Death Rattle makes a 1/2 slime. You will see this card everywhere. It's probably one of the best taunt minions in the game, if not the best taunt minions in the game. Now personally, I think that this card can be played everywhere. Even in aggro decks, I feel like you could play this card, because you could place this down and have your little minions behind it while you can still hit them in the face, and they have to get through your taunt wall just to get to your other small minions that are putting the pressure on. Now where Loatheb comes into play is basically everywhere also. Especially handy in matches against Mage and Druid, as you can save yourself 1 more turn from combo for the combo Druid. You can protect yourself with Mage against Fireballs, Pyroblast, Flame Strikes. Card's 5 mana for 5/5, which is just, fine stats. So to go along with the additional benefits of why I think Plague Order is the most value you'll get out of a expansion, is because you're also getting Web Spinner and Duplicate. You're basically looking at all of the cards from this quarter being playable. The exception is probably the worst card in the game, which is Stone Skin Gargoyle. But you basically can ignore that card, because if you're getting Sludge Belcher and Loatheb alone, you might as well just throw that card in the trash and just enjoy your Loatheb and Sludge Belcher. Definitely would recommend picking up this quarter at minimum, because that will step your game up that much more. Alright, so next up is another expansion, and it's actually the first quarter, and I would say probably the only quarter that's really necessary to have, of Blackrock Mountain, and this is Blackrock Depths. And the reason is because Emperor Thaurissan is the legendary of this expansions quarter, and Emperor Thaurissan is the best 6-drop in the game. Every control deck 100% uses this card. And the 6-drops are actually, in my opinion, lacking cards, especially in the neutral cards. So you definitely can find space to place this card within any of your decks. But also add a bonus a little bit is a Hunter card. I know I said I'm mainly going to be talking about neutrals, but this does come with Quick Shot. And Quick Shot is a great Hunter card that you could place into all of your Hunter decks. Quick Shot's great for hitting the face, great for removal, can draw even a card if you have an empty hand if you need to find an answer. Just an overall pretty decent card. It's basically like a Dark Bomb for Hunter, except it has also an extra ability if the needs are met. So would definitely recommend that card too. Oh, and also Grim Patron's in this deck, but I wouldn't recommend that if you're playing free to play because it's a little bit more of an advanced deck, I suppose. But you can always check that out too. Grim Patron is in this quarter too. Okay, so here we go. Our first very reasonable card for all of you newcomers. This is Piloted Shredder. This is one of the best, if not the best, 4-drop common slot card. As a 4-mana 4/3 Death Rattle, summon a random 2-cost minion. This card is insane. It has such great value, and it gives you the chance to keep some board presence even if they're able to kill this minion. The only thing that this card really is susceptible to is silence. Now, because it's a common card, it's only going to cost you 40 dust per card, so you're looking at 80 dust alone. If you open a pack with a card that is extremely useless, like Farsight, for example, the Shaman Epic, you can easily get this card. I would definitely recommend getting this card at minimum for your 4 slots. Here's another mech for you guys. Now this is Spider Tank, another common card also. So it's going to be another 40 dust for you. And the only reason why I chose this card is because it's a 3-mana 3/4. I feel like right now if you run pretty much any other 3-mana card, you're pretty much falling behind just due to the fact that this card can trade with it and then some more. A mage might have to have an Earthen Ring Farseer out, hit this, and then has to ping it. So you're denying maybe a larger card from being played at that point. So definitely a great card from Goblins vs. Gnomes for the 3-drop. Obviously in the new expansion you're looking at 2 legendaries to be coming out that have these same stats but with effects. But if you're free to play, you're most likely not going to be obtaining a ton of legendaries. Alright, so here's a rare card. You're looking at Defender of Argus. Now Defender of Argus has pretty bad stats. 4 mana 2/3. Now the Battlecry effect actually is the best part of this card because you're giving taunts to everybody and +1/+1 that are, well, not everybody, but the cards that are adjacent to you. So yeah, this card's also great for buffing the cards that don't have any initial effect but are very strong cards. For example, my first thought is Nerubian Egg. If you, which I definitely recommend, you get the Plague Quarter from Naxxramas, you're going to be obtaining Nerubian Egg through the process because that's from the first quarter. And a great way to buff it is with Defender of Argus because that forces the opponent to either have to silence it and you're going to get a 4/4 and you also have a 1/3 to attack something, or they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. Alright, so here is my 5-drop choice. Antique Healbot. Antique Healbot, the common card, 5 mana, 3/3. Terrible stats, but this is your healing mechanic, I would say. This is kind of like your saving grace. You throw down your Sludge Belcher, throw down Antique Healbot the next turn, and you're kind of back in the game after some people are trying to rush you down. And most people didn't see this card as being played at all because of the terrible stats. But then once they realize, hey, it's basically 2 mana, heal yourself for 8, which is better than Healing Touch from Druid. Yeah, it has some value. It actually does. I recommend this card. This might be one of those cards that are kind of exceptional. If you don't feel like you need your healing, it's not essential for you, then maybe you can skip this one. But it is only 40 dust, so I still recommend it just because of how cheap it is. Alright, I couldn't help myself here. I decided to combine 2 rare cards into 1 slot just because I feel like these are very good cards and I'm running out of space here to make this a 10 card limit, so I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm combining cards from the different expansions and just whatever. So these are just cards in general, I suppose, rather than top 10. But we have Azure Drake and Knife Juggler. Knife Juggler is probably the best 2-drop in the game from the neutral set, as it has the basic 2 mana 3/2, but also when you play a minion, it deals 1 damage to a random enemy. I'm sure everybody's seen this card in the Zoo decks, in the Hunter decks. The card's everywhere. Now, as I said before, it's a rare card, so you're looking at 100 dust for this card, just like Azure Drake also. Now, the reason why I chose Azure Drake also, as this would have been the card I probably would have cut, is because the fact that it has spell damage and card draw. So you're looking at a neutral card that can be placed within a lot of decks and still draw you a card and put a body on the board. Plus have spell damage, which is always nice. Always nice, a plus. The stat line is always is a little off, but the card draw and spell damage kind of negate it, obviously. So definitely would recommend that one also for your 100 dust too. Alright, so these are going to be the last cards. This is the bottom of the barrel of what I would say for you to shoot for, as it is so expensive. You are looking at the Construct Order of Naxxramas, because I believe this is the second to last quarter within Naxxramas. So it's going to cost you about 2,800 gold, I believe, but you're getting some great value for it. As first of all, you're playing through Naxxramas, which is just a lot of fun in its own, and second of all, you're getting the best one drop in the game, which is Zombie Chow, and then you're getting one of the most used 2 drops in the game is Mad Scientist. A Mad Scientist is played because of not so much its stat line, but because it helps you cycle through your deck quicker to find the cards you need to finish out the game faster. Now, you don't care too much about what secrets you get, it's just more so the fact that you're getting the value of playing the 2-mana 2/2 and also playing your secret. So you can basically get a 5-mana value with this card if you're playing a mage. Now, whereas Zombie Chow, all you're looking for is to trade. This is more of a control card, as what you're going to be doing is trading into other minions as efficiently as possible. And this is because you don't care about their health total in the beginning. You just want to get as much value out of the card as possible. Now, Zombie Chow has the same stat lines as cards in the 2-mana slot, so you're definitely getting your values worth. It has the same stat line as like Imani Berserker off the top of my head, or River Crocolisk is one I should say, is everybody will have that card, as it just comes straight when you start the game. So the additional benefit of getting this is you get Deathspite, and Deathspite is probably the best warrior weapon in the game. I would say it's debatable between that and Fiery War Axe. Alright guys, well that is it. So hopefully some of you free-to-play users can use this to your benefit. I read a lot of times on the internet that free-to-play users feel like it's a pay-to-win game, when all it takes is a little bit of time and knowledge of the actual game. And because you're free to play, you're probably a newer player, so do a little research and learn how to play some decks. Maybe look towards fine-tuning one specific deck that you enjoy, whether it's a priest, a hunter, a warlock, a mage. Don't go by what the top tier decks are and you have to play a Grim Patron Warrior because it's #1 all the time and everybody thinks it's the greatest deck ever. No, just play something that's fun for you and what you'll enjoy. Yeah, maybe you might not have that extra 1% win rate, but you're still gonna win a lot of games if you know your deck well and you have some decent cards to back it. And I think that these cards are actually reasonable. Obviously, the only ones that are kind of tougher would be Dr. Boom, as that is a legendary to craft, and getting all the way down to Construct Order for Naxxramas, because 2,800 gold takes quite a while. You're going to be grinding for a while, but the other cards alone can kind of set you back and help you out through the grind. So hopefully this helped you out, and thanks for watching.